Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About Christianity. I'm Keith.
Pablo Calderón from Peru.
Yes, Pablo. Maybe noticing if you're watching the video that we are missing Zach today.
Sad we miss you.
Zach's actually on vacation, and so he thought he had it worked out to where he could record with us today, but he did not. So we know how that goes, don't we, Pablo? We thought we had everything worked out in Chimbote, but we did not. But so anyway, we're going to carry on today. It's just not going to be possible to get together. Next week is going to be challenges of a different nature. Pablo, you are the one who will be unavailable next week.
Yes.
Where will you be?
Well, I think it's part of my life during the last 7 years, during this time of the year, in July and June, no? I've been in Ica, working on the Just 2 campaign.
Yes. So that is going to be very exciting because there has never been a Yes to campaign in Peru before.
No, there never been a Yes campaign here. It will be in Ica, and it's about 70 Americans coming in Saturday night.
So a Yes to campaign, you're going to Ica. Are you going to Parcona or Supton Heights?
No, we're going to Parcona.
Parcona. Yes. And so you'll be there with Paulino and Maria.
Sandra también. Sandra also. Sorry, my Spanish.
Sandra will be there. Also. Hey, do me a favor and say hello to Raquel for me.
Okay, I will. She's tall.
Yes. I've heard that she's tall. And then you look at Sandra, and Sandra's like this tall, and
and Raquel is already. No, I think she's my size. Yeah, but that was last December, so it was 6 months later. But I will. I will
and Raquel is Paulino's daughter.
The youngest, no?
The youngest daughter, for those of you who might not know, but that is exciting for the church in Ica. It's exciting for you, even though I know it's going to be a long, hard week with all the translating that you'll have to do.
Yes, in this week, actually, my work will be more like translating the Bible studies, no?
Right.
There is not so much there is not a lot of logistic. I mean, I'm not telling you that it's gonna be easy, no, but
right.
I will be more involved in translation.
Okay.
Yes, this is my second the second time that I work for Yes to, no? The last time I was invited to go in Costa Rica. And for all of you guys that maybe you're wondering what do they do in Just 2 campaign, it's like singing, a lot of singing, knocking doors, and in the night we have like a devotional, no, like a Bible class for all the neighborhood and the church.
More like a vacation Bible school.
Yes, that's it.
And so that's, the Yes to campaign is only teenagers, and they're going to be going out and well, they're going to do this vacation Bible school in the evening there in Ica, but they'll be out knocking doors and doing Bible studies during the day. So yes, you will have a lot of translating to do. Who else is going with you?
Okay, we have from Peru, we have 11 translators. Magali, the one who works in the dentist area on the medical campaigns. Sandra from Ica, Adriana and Alex, no? Me, Arturo too, is coming with us. And who else? A Milagros Loida. Yes, most like 11 translators from Peru and 3 are coming from Panama.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Very, very good. Well, that will be a very exciting week for you.
Yeah,
I can't wait week after next to be able to hear about how that trip went for you.
sure. And about all the baptisms during the week, no? And it will be a great success for the Ica church there.
Yes, yes. And you and I didn't mean to get to talking about all of this, but some of our listeners may not know this, but you lived in Ica for what, 2 years?
Yes, for 2 years I was part of an internship there, and after I finished the preaching school, Jack Farber suggested me if I want to apply for an internship in Ica. It took me like a month to decide, but I
Well,
did.
that was a challenging 2 years though, because you basically lived in the church building there.
See, and cook by myself and do everything by myself. No, I mean
Yes.
actually I did that before, but it was a different feeling. No,
Hmm.
the first year was a lot different of the second years. The second year was more like I got experience, get mature. No, I learned from mistakes from the first year, and that was a very interesting part of my life. Those 2 years in Ica. Yeah,
Good, good.
thank you.
Well, okay. So, and as we mentioned, we are without Zach today, and I'm not even going to make fun of him for being on vacation. Everybody needs a vacation.
Everybody
Uh,
needs a break. Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
everybody needs one. Even guys who are just going to school and don't have a real job. But we're not going to talk about Zach today.
Yeah, I know. We
Oh,
know.
I've got to
I
tell
got your
you,
point.
Pablo. I've got to tell you that Ginger, you remember Ginger?
Ginger who?
Ginger on the campaign last week. She worked in optometry.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. She was listening to an episode here this past week, and she said, could you ask Pablo to make his chickens be quiet? And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to mess with Pablo's chickens.
Yeah.
But
Actually, it's my goose.
oh, you have a goose. Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
a goose, not chickens. It's a goose, only
Oh,
one. May
one
like sound
goose.
like a more than 10 chickens. But he's quiet now. I think he's sleeping. So
Okay,
Ginger,
well,
don't worry.
don't wake a sleeping goose.
No, we won't.
Yeah, that's not a saying, but we just made it into one. But okay, so what's happening here is that we just finished up our vacation Bible school here at Shady Acres, and
Neat.
it was absolutely fantastic. I wish you had been here to translate for it, even though
So
there wasn't any there
sooner or
wasn't
later, buddy.
any translation, to be made really. But we had, although there were some of the little kids that there was one of them in particular. I don't know. He held out his arms. He wanted to come to me, and I picked him up, and he just started talking and telling me stuff. And I looked at his big brother, and I'm like, "What's he saying? I don't understand." And his brother just kind of grinned and shrugged his shoulders, like, "Yeah, nobody understands what he says." But
Mm-hmm.
so there might be some translation opportunity for you there. You could interpret some of that baby talk for us.
Sure,
Um,
sure,
yeah,
no
yeah.
problem. I can adapt.
But we it was just a fantastic vacation Bible school. One of the best that I have been a part of in a number of years. And
What was the topic of the BBS?
well, it's kind of interesting because we talked about the children of Israel in the wilderness,
Okay.
crossing the Red Sea, and then we did a lesson on manna and how God provided for the children of Israel, and then we talked about the time that they spent at Mount Sinai, and then closed it out with them crossing over the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. But so there was a lot of history covered in a very short period of time. And I think some really good things are coming out of this VBS that we had this year, both within the church and within the community. Very, very excited about that. But we talk about these characters such as Moses and Aaron and Joshua, and we could just go on and on talking about these
Yeah.
biblical characters.
Caleb, no? Or Caleb. No?
Caleb,
Or
yes,
Caleb.
yes. We talk about those guys, and I think we kind of look at them as maybe being almost like superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
They did some absolutely amazing things, and you start looking at the history there in Exodus and Numbers, and that was a very hard life that they were living.
Yeah, and also having not a very variety of diet, no, for eating.
Yes, yes. And I actually talked about in the adult class that I taught during the week. I talked about the rice and beans that we ate in Chimbote, and I'm like,
Okay.
we loved the rice and beans,
I love it.
but I wouldn't want to eat it for 40 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, we look at these characters and we see some absolutely amazing things that they were able to accomplish. And it got me to thinking, what is it that makes a superhero a superhero? And we look at and my girls, they've been watching some superhero movie series. I don't get into that. I'll just be honest. It's not my thing, and I've not been watching them with them. But they've been watching these various superhero movies, and we look at those superheroes, and they have something special that everybody else doesn't have. That's what makes them a superhero.
Yes.
But they have to be using their powers for good.
For good. And also, when they got that power, at some point of the on the way to become a superhero, no, it's like you're training your powers, no. It's not like that's what I saw most of the movies, no. You're a superhero and you start discovering what can you do, no, and training them, things like that. And even in the Bible, or when with Moses, I mean, no, maybe he got the skills, but he needed training.
Now,
Before
I watched one of the Incredibles. It
Mhm.
wasn't the first one. I have seen that, but it was like on somewhere where I couldn't escape. And I'm just not a movie guy. I don't get into movies.
Me either, actually, me either. I'm
Um,
not.
but anyway, the point I was going to make about the Incredibles, and it was a really cute movie. No, I don't have anything bad to say about it, but they were kind of like watch this, I can do this, and kind of flaunting what they were able to do, and that was part of the storyline and part of what made it so appealing with those guys. But then you look at other superheroes, and they're very quiet, very private. They didn't want everybody to know who they were and what they were capable of doing. And then we look at these guys in the Bible that, okay, so, well, we look at Moses, and he did some pretty fantastic stuff. You know, like the whole parting the Red Sea thing. That's pretty cool. You know.
And deal with people, no, for 40 years.
Yes, that's a superpower in itself, is it not? But when you saw Moses living in the land of Midian and caring for his father-in-law's sheep, would you have looked at him and said, "Hey, that guy's a superhero"? You know what? There was that period of training and development that you were talking about, but you know, Moses, when God appeared to him in the burning bush, Moses is like, I can't do this.
Yes, he was
And
like not so confident, no?
we see a number of Gideon comes to mind. Gideon's like, I'm not going to do this by myself. You know, God, you're going to have to send somebody else with me. And or Barak was the one that I was thinking of. And Gideon, we could talk about him. You know, requesting the signs from the Lord so that he would know that the Lord was with him. But there was that period of growth that they had to go through. And even after that, though, if you were, let's say, Pablo, that you were a reporter and you went up to Moses. Moses, can I interview you? Can I ask you a few questions? And Moses says, sure, you can ask me questions. And Pablo, you say, Moses, where did you learn to part the Red Sea? And you know what would have been Moses' response? Moses would have said, I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
It was God, no?
It was God.
It wasn't me, yes.
And we look at, and this is something that had really sort of struck me over this past week in the studies that we did. But you look at guys like Aaron, who served as the first high priest, and served for the time that they were in the wilderness, probably, you know, 30, 38, 39 years that they were in the wilderness, that Aaron served as the high priest. Aaron made a few mistakes. Aaron didn't get everything right. And, you know, we look at individuals like that, and we realize that even though the Bible exalts them greatly, as the Bible should, they weren't perfect individuals.
No, they were humans with mistakes and also weaknesses, no? Yeah.
And I don't know, I got thinking last night about Moses in particular, and how the Bible says that there was nobody on earth who was as meek as Moses was. And we know that word meek does not mean weak, but it means strength, but that strength that is under control. And I just got to wondering where, and there, don't get me wrong, there were times when Moses' humanity really showed through, but there were so many instances where Moses said, this is not about me. And so here you have this guy who has such a relationship with God that they are conversing with one another. And his faith, beyond any doubt, was phenomenal.
So
and
I can tell that Moses is one of your favorites.
Well, yes, he is. But then you look at the leadership capabilities that Moses had, even though he said he did not. He still had those leadership capabilities. And you put all of these things together, and you did not have a guy who walked into a room and said, okay, I'm in charge. Everybody has to listen to me. Everybody has to do it my way because I'm the one who's in charge. God told me I was in charge. And so, you know, there's not going to be any arguing with me. I'm the one, I'm the guy. I'm the one in charge. That wasn't Moses.
No, that he wasn't.
Even though there were times when his authority that God had given him was challenged, and he stood by that authority that God had given him and defended that authority, but he knew that he was within the bounds of what God had given him to do. So here's the question that I have. I'm checking the time here. Okay, we're good. We've got probably about 7 more minutes here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where are we going to find our superheroes today? Now, what qualities would we put into a super Christian today? If we could fashion a super Christian, and you understand the sense that I'm using that,
yes, one of the things that I look for people, Christian people, is wisdom. And if I see a guy, standing and preaching or giving a Bible study, teaching, because you can have information, you can have knowledge, and you can have wisdom. That's different. And when you see a guy with wisdom, I say, okay, man, that's pretty interesting.
But really, all of those have to come together, don't they?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Because I know some individuals with wisdom, but they're lacking in knowledge.
I know. On some of them, they're lacking of information too.
Yes. And I saw a meme last night. I think it was on Instagram, which is kind of random because I rarely get on Instagram, but I rarely get on social media anymore. But anyway, this meme said something to the effect, and it was a quote from Warren Buffett, and it said something to the effect of and I can't remember the word, whether it was an evil person or a fool with a plan would beat. Maybe that was it. An evil person with a plan will beat. No, that wasn't it. It was a fool. A fool with a plan will beat a wise man without a plan every time.
Mm-hmm.
Or something to that effect. But we get the sense of what he was saying. A little breeze, that feels good. It's getting hot out here.
Yeah.
Maybe a little cloud coming over and giving me a little bit of shade. Yes, I'm in my backyard this morning because after the craziness of the week of VBS, I said, nope, there's no way I'm going to my office today.
Yeah, and you survived, kid. That makes you a superhero too.
There may be something to that, but okay. So we got to have wisdom, and we've got to have the information and the knowledge. Obviously, since we're talking about Christianity and our service to God, we've got to have faith. We've got to have faith, and I want to point out that there are times when we look at our faith and we say it's not as strong as it needs to be, and we may even say I don't have the faith to do what I need to do, and I want to say that there are points in time when you may be absolutely correct, that you do not have the faith that you need at that point in time. However, how many of these biblical characters do we see who were the ones saying, oh, hey, God, pick me, my faith is best. I'm good right now. I mean, maybe Isaiah. And beyond Isaiah, who do we see within the Bible? Now David was always that kind of guy too.
Yeah.
But
Peter too, no? I mean, in his way.
who?
Peter.
Oh,
On
Peter.
his way.
Yes. But we see those guys, and well, even Peter, and Peter serves as a great example, Pablo, because there were times when Peter's faith was certainly not what it needed to have been.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop him. And do we look at ourselves and say, I'm no superhero. I'm not a super Christian. And I think we probably would all say that of ourselves, but do we let the fact that we are not superheroes stop us from doing what superheroes do?
See.
Because and this is true in Peru as well as it is here in the United States. We have all kinds of superheroes in our societies. Law enforcement and first responders and firemen and those serving in the military and those who are doing things that are extremely difficult, and in a lot of cases things that no one else wants to do, but they're doing them, and they're willing to step up and to serve and to do those things. And when you look around, well, let's take it this step first. When you look through the Bible, the difference between the superheroes of the Bible and the ones who were not, the superheroes did.
See.
They may not have always had all the skills. They may not have always had all the faith. They may not have always had all the wisdom or the knowledge, but they did what God wanted them to do anyway. And that is what made them superheroes. How is that any different with us today as Christians? Because let's be honest, if you're waiting for your faith or you are waiting for your knowledge to become perfect, it's never going to happen.
No, that's never going to happen. Definitely.
What we've got to do, and that's what God expects us of us, is that we do with what we have. And I see it all the time, and I know that you do too. But there will be individuals who they will compare themselves to someone else. And they may not want to lead a prayer because they don't think that their prayer is as eloquent as brother so-and-so's, or their ability to lead singing isn't as good as somebody else's, and that stops them from doing anything at all. And that's not what God wants from us. Okay, we got to wrap this up. We're out of time.
Yes.
Very close.
I
Anyway.
want to add something.
Okay, absolutely.
It's just like the case of John Mark.
Yes.
In the book of Acts, no? Maybe he was surrounded by superheroes. Paul, Barnabas.
Ooh.
No? And he might thought that he could do it too. No? And when he faced the real life,
maybe he found out he couldn't do all that they could do. And why didn't you bring that point up sooner? I mean, we could do an entire episode just on that.
I know.
Pablo.
Maybe for the next next episode. But that's great, right? Young Mark.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's write that down. We need to come back to that point. Absolutely. Okay, so on behalf of Zach, who is somewhere in the Mosquito infested swamps of South Carolina right now.
South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. That's where he's at right now. On behalf of Zach, we want to wish you a fantastic week and go do what God wants you to do.
Amen. I will.
Go be a Christian superhero to someone this week. So, anything else, Pablo?
Today is Carlos Condemarin birthday.
It is?
It is.
Happy birthday, Carlos! Feliz cumpleaños!
Okay.
Yes.
For those that might know Carlos, no? You might
Carlos,
introduce him, maybe.
hey, Carlos is a superhero.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. He is a superhero. So happy birthday, Carlos. You know what? Carlos is a great big guy, and he can be sort of firm, you know, in his approach to people. But even though we don't speak the language, I think of Carlos as one of my good friends.
Yes, and he's a great helper for Callao congregation too.
Yes.
Yes.
So happy birthday, Carlos. And
yeah, happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños.
We're out of time. We got to get off of here. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Okay. Adios. Ciao, ciao.
You didn't do this.
No, I forgot it.